Thanks, Raylene. Um, Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see everyone here today. My name is Luke Carmichael. I'm the head of advertiser partnerships at Samsung Ads. I kind of reflect, actually, last year I was doing a panel. This year I've got a presentation. Gabe, beware, next year I'm coming for your job. But today I really wanted to talk about the importance of smart TV for gamers. And we do that by analysing their consumption of content and also gameplay. So at Samsung, we have a very kind of unique view of the world. Not only have we been the #1 manufacturer of TVs for 17 years now, something we're really proud of, we've also got the highest market share for Australian gamers. And that's probably no surprise, actually, because our devices are engineered from the ground up. And that's everything around creating the most immersive gameplay with the fastest refresh rates and decreased lag time, new gaming monitors, and also innovations here like Gameplay View that you've just seen, which really appeals to the hardcore and enthusiast gamers and means they demand us as a product. And it's not just our hardware that kind of sets us apart. It's really about the insights that we have at our fingertips, which allows us to kind of see the bigger picture. And as the most trusted brand in the connected TV space, we have a really deep implicit understanding of TV consumptions, of viewers, of their needs and their behaviors on device. And using these insights is our mission to enhance consumer experience and basically aid discovery for gamers and advertisers. And connecting to this hard-to-reach audience is really important, as we all know, and it's really tricky. Especially at a time when we all know as well, with economic pressures, we need to make our advertising dollars work harder and harder. So the big question is, how can you ensure you're reaching qualified gaming audiences? And we do this across our universe in a few different ways. The first way we can see gameplay is via the connected devices. So we can see peripheral devices plugged into our TVs, which gives us a unique view of gaming's happening on a console basis across our ecosystem. And that really allows us to validate in a really strong way gaming households and gamers across our devices. From there, it also means we can understand what types of games are being played on opted-in TVs. And it's really important to stress, actually, that this happens in a completely sort of privacy-safe, consumer-first approach at a household level. And it's kind of interesting from a gaming perspective, because we always think about gamers when they're gaming, but we also think about, and we also have insights in terms of what gamers are doing actually when they're not playing games and when they're away from the game. So let's take a quick look at this. And the first thing I want to kind of do is debunk a kind of myth around the fact that gamers don't watch television. They do. And I'll contextualize this by talking about actually the kind of split we see across consumption on our devices on average, where you can see that nearly 70% of consumption now is happening via streaming compared to linear. When we look at that from a gaming perspective, that increases to 84%, so a huge uptick in terms of their demand of watching content via streaming. And actually, to contextualize that, that's about 2.5 hours every single day of content. So they love content, they still want to engage content, it's just how they receive that content and where they go for it is very, very different nowadays. Cool, and so now let's step back again and think around the kind of around the game and the in-game opportunities. And kind of what that means in terms of connecting through to gameplay and audiences. Again, because I said earlier, we have this ability to see on a hardware basis what's plugged into the devices. We can also see a rate of acceleration in growth in this area, and that 18% of consoles are growing again across our devices year over year. So some really sort of significant growth. But what's interesting is when you scratch beneath the surface and start to look at kind of where this is coming from, the previous generation consoles, kind of which Raylene was talking about a second ago, still represent about 2 out of 3 of our connected devices across our universe. But actually, in terms of the next gen consoles, and again, that availability of stock starting to come through now, this is where we're seeing the most increased acceleration and rate of growth. And that's also important to think about, particularly when we look at the behavior of these audiences, because actually what we're finding is that these next gen audiences are becoming even harder to reach for an audience that's already harder to reach, with audiences now watching 31% less TV than actual kind of standard gamers. So kind of making everything harder and harder and trickier and trickier. So then again, the big question here is, how do we reach these gamers on the big screen with the maximum impact? And I guess that, marketers have always traditionally been able to reach consumers on TV through TVCs and ad pods, but now actually marketers can reach the gamers before they're playing or before they're jumping into gameplay. And this is through our native smart TV ad solutions that are kind of intrinsically built into the smart TV environment. And you can see here a masthead example for Nintendo really delivers that kind of huge impact. Importantly, this is all about aiding discovery for consumers, and that can be in terms of content they want to watch, it can be around new games, it can be around new models and consoles coming into market. And importantly as well, this is the last moment of truth before someone jumps into content or gameplay to deliver that kind of positive message and association. And actually what's super interesting is that beyond the standard placements, there's also the ability for the users to have user-initiated engagements over and above. So importantly, now we can click to full screen video, so that's full sound and vision, drive through to an immersive microsite, or even click through to the website for more information. So all of this is around driving, again, the consumer through the consideration funnel all the way through to purchase. And I guess by utilizing these kind of advanced insights and targeting capabilities, we can look at lots of different kind of opportunities in terms of how we kind of answer business solutions. So, there's a few up here and a couple to call out really are sort of around targeting legacy consoles, so the sort of previous generations for the new consoles coming into market, or potentially finding lapsed gamers and kind of bringing them back into the ecosystem. But this is just kind of scratching the surface in terms of some of the objectives, solutions, and kind of measurement that we have available, and we'd love to kind of have conversations in terms of how we can make this specific for your briefs and brands and campaigns. So 3 quick points here, I guess, is that the first one is that there's this notion that gamers are really hard to reach, but actually we do have the facility to find these pre-qualified gamers at scale with impact on our devices. So, the objective here is for you to kind of take advantage of that. Also the notion that gamers aren't watching content, they are. They're really heavy consumers of content via streaming. And again, that represents a really good opportunity to get the right message to the right people at the right time. And again, just the point I made a second ago in terms of thinking about the mindset of discoveries for these consumers and users in that environment, and again, how we can capitalize on that to find, again, the right messages at the right time with the right kind of objective. Cool. And then just one last section for me is just an area that's kind of really sort of core to the innovation of our business, and kind of an area where we're really sort of doubling down in the sort of gaming environment. And I guess kind of like music and media before and TV right now, we're basically seeing gaming enter the kind of streaming universe. From our perspective, we are launching the Samsung Gaming Hub. It's a first of a kind for TV manufacturer. It's basically a cloud gaming interface on our UI that sits on the TV, so we're really excited about this. From a gamer's perspective, what it means is that you can instantly play. There's no download, storage limits, even no console required. You just switch on your TV and you have the facility to play, so reducing that kind of friction. We'll be launching this really soon in market, so kind of watch out for the media that's about to drop on this one. And I just want to kind of go to a quick sizzle reel to kind of bring this to life as well. Oh, if it worked. You can always rely on technology. There we go. Cool, so that's kind of it for me. I'm conscious I covered a lot of ground in a very short amount of time, so if this kind of is interesting, you want to have conversations, come and find us afterwards, and we'd love to continue the conversation. So thank you.